Welcome to the Spawn Chunks, episode number 261 for Monday, September 4th, 2023. My name is Joel Duggan, and joining me this week, filling in for Johnny, traveling in the south of France, is Tadpole Milk. You can find Tadpole at tadpole_milk_ on both Twitter and Twitch, and Tadpole Milk, without the underscores, on YouTube. Hello, and welcome to the show, my friend.
Hello, thank you for having me. This is almost a dream come true since I've been playing Minecraft.
Almost a dream come true, so I'm wondering where we fell short.
Dream come trues kind of indicate from when you're a child, so I guess the dream come true since I've been learning to play Minecraft. You guys have been there since my Minecraft baby steps. You probably don't know that till now, but when I started learning, you and Johnny were the ones that I found initially and learned so much. So thank you so much. I can't believe I'm here.
We really appreciate you filling in, and I'm sure your lessons and your adventures in early Minecraft led you to the survival guide that Johnny puts out. And for folks that have been keeping track, Johnny had some scheduled videos this week, but we'll obviously wait for Johnny to come back to talk about what's been going on the Minecraft Survival Guide Season 3. But you can, of course, check that out at youtube.com/pixelriffs. Speaking of all of the adventures that we have been having, and we will be looking forward to getting some updates from Pixelriffs next week on the render distance. But this week, we were talking about dogs, and we were talking about how our holiday weekends were going, even though as both independent creators, Tadpole and I don't get holiday weekends. And if you'd like to listen to that, you can check that out at patreon.com/thespawnchunks. The render distance is an extended conversation we record every single week, so our patrons get a little bit of extra bonus audio. And it is the first episode of September, so we wanted to extend a huge thank you to all of our patrons for their ongoing support. Because of that support, later this month, you can expect the Chunk Mail Dispenser, an all-email episode, monthly Minecraft Hangouts, usually recorded live in the Discord on the last Saturday of the month, but we will update everyone on that schedule in the Discord, and quarterly Hangouts, usually at the end of the quarters, but we had a little bit of a hiccup with the data this summer, so we've pushed the Hangout to the early start of October. That will obviously depend on when and if we get a Minecraft Live announcement from Mojang. So stay tuned in the Discord for all of that bonus content that comes your way as being a member of the Patreon, and we truly appreciate it. Keeping with tradition, Tadpole, the guest, normally goes first with the quick login. So what have you been up to in Minecraft this week, and I guess specifically this weekend?
Well, this weekend on Friday, we started a subathon. When I started, I totally didn't even remember there was a holiday on Monday, so yay us. But the support has been phenomenal. There is still, I think, 16 hours left.
16, wow.
Yeah, they've been keeping it at like 30 for the past couple days, and I'm like, oh no, because I knew this was coming Monday, and I was like, I know how kind and generous everybody is in the community, but I did not expect this level of support. I'm truly thankful and blown away, and I have not had time to process everything. My mind is still spinning from everything that's been going on with that. Truly grateful. But during the subathon, we were over on Halcyon Heights, content creator SMP. I was invited to play on this year. And we finished building a creeper farm, a ridiculously large creeper farm that we did not need to build, but we built because it was just big and unnecessary. And I enjoyed every second of it. We only died once, and that was because we flew too close to the ground, too fast, but that's fine. And then on my single player world, we finished our Hall of Fame hallway, which leads into our library we're planning on building. The hallway's like a old school fairy tale theme. Think Little Red Riding Hood, Hansel and Gretel, the old grim fairy tale stories I remember as a kid, is kind of a little dark, not real bright and sparkly or anything. I really like it. We finally got that all done, like all the little Hall of Fame shrines, I guess you call them, that you can get if you earn channel points in our channel.
Oh,
and
nice.
It's going to lead into, because we have chiseled bookshelves now, right? Since
Yep.
I heard of this, I wanted to build an actual full-blown library with sections of Silk Touch, Efficiency 5, channeling, didn't matter. All the enchantments, I want to have a section for each of them, and I want to have little Alea librarians floating around with books. That's my plan.
I really like chiseled bookshelves. I made a small library in West Hill, and it was like night and day decorating with
Yeah.
chiseled bookshelves and being able to put like some books in the shelf, leaving like one or two spots empty, and then, making that the decor rather than the standard Minecraft bookshelves, which one are on all sides, but then are also
Hmm.
like full and they look identical. And it looks very
Right.
grid like, whereas I feel like the chiseled bookshelves gives you a lot more room.
Right. Yes. I mean, they look good. There's a lot of color there,
Yep.
but like you said, it's this. It's like wallpaper. It's the same pattern over and
Yeah.
over and over and over. Fun fact: as much as I want to build this with them, I have yet to craft one single chiseled bookshelf.
Oh, really?
I'm waiting. I'm waiting specifically to craft my first one for when I'm ready to place it in a library.
Oh, wow. So you've been decorating everything first with the idea of putting the,
Yeah.
yeah, okay.
Yeah, so I'll do the outside and the ceiling and the roof and everything, and then we'll start doing. I have a rough idea for the floor plan, like the tiles and stuff. But yeah, I have yet to actually decorate it. It's kind of big. I'm focusing more on like really big builds, not really connected in any way yet. As of yet, I mean, this is my single player forever world. Um, it's just regular survival. It's not hardcore. So my plan is to play here forever, and and just keep building a bigger project somewhere else, and go somewhere and build something else that's big, and then maybe figure a way to connect them with some kind of lore, which I kind of have ideas for right now, but I haven't fully developed all those yet. But yeah, that's my thing with Minecraft. It's like, what can I build here, and I want to make it big. And I found like the bigger I build, the better they tend to look. That makes sense. It's hard for me to detail smaller builds.
Oh, 100%. Minecraft is a chunky game in terms of the aesthetics, and I find that the larger that you build something, the more detail you can fit in easily
Mhm.
without getting frustrated with sub-block shapes and or colors not existing in what you want. Whereas if the
Mhm.
details that you're putting in are either block level or around that size, like stairs and slabs and stuff, there's a lot more colors and a lot more shapes that are available to you. And I do the same thing, like when I did my Nether Hub, when I designed, some of the larger things that I've been doing, I absolutely, benefited from having larger scale. There's actually some points in West Hill where I feel like my scale is too small and I get frustrated by, not having enough room to do, say, like a gradient or something. Like you're
Mhm.
much better off to have like a 20 or 30 block wide by 60 or 80 block tall wall, which seems
Mhm.
ginormous. But when you start to
Right.
put some sort of pattern on it, you realize just how small it is. Like it's
Yeah.
it's it's not really that big in terms of the giant, we'll call them pixels that you're dealing with when you're using Minecraft blocks to like create color or gradients or textures and things. So I feel
Right.
like
It's that.
going larger is usually good. Now, with your Hall of Fame library, did you create it in a way that it's expandable, given that this is a forever world? Like if you fill it, can you then push it into the mountain or like push it down farther in one direction or another?
There's a little bit of room to expand on the side, but it is quite large. What I did was we kind of went exploring when the cherry biomes were introduced, and I was looking for one of those expansive cherry biomes that's kind of like on a hill but goes down into the valley a little bit that I've seen. But what we ended up finding was almost a horseshoe-like mountain range with like a depression kind of in the middle that opened to like an ocean. And I was like, man, this is it. So we lowered the center of it, the center of the horseshoe there, so it went down. And then I'm just planting the cherry trees along the ridge of or not the ridge, but like the base of the mountain range and the behind the library. So it's going to kind of be like our own custom cherry biome behind and wrapping around the library. It looks really, really good. So I've been really trying to do the whole step away, like basically fly away from the build and look at it from afar, and
Mm-hmm.
not so much up close, like the up close little details, but the far away, almost cinematic view is kind of what I'm going for.
I do that a lot too. I tend to back up and you get too wrapped up in things up close and you get frustrated with it
Hmm.
not looking the way that you want. But you're like, wait a minute,
Exactly.
I'm standing up on scaffolding, 2 meters from this thing.
Right.
No one is going to be here. Like anybody that comes to this area, unless they're flying by it, and even then they've got to
Mhm.
look at it as they go, 20 miles an hour past the thing.
Right.
They're going to be looking at it from the ground or at the most the wall, that's next to it. And so you have to kind of stand up and say, this is what it looks like from the player perspective, I like to call it, quote unquote, where,
Yes.
if somebody were to come into your town, they would be walking around, or they'd be walking into your library, they'd be standing on the ground, they wouldn't be hanging from the ceiling like you, the builder, are, noodling
Exactly.
over every last little detail. But I mean, I also think that, noodling over every little detail, it's fun for me. I'm not sure if it's fun for you, but it's fun for me to kind of get into the details and get into the weeds of something. Specifically when I want to design something that's either symmetrical, or for me, just knowing that the shape is there in full, I find helps me wrap my head around a project, even if like half of that shape is then not visible because I've hidden it behind a wall, or I've, you're just not going to see it from that side. But I feel like I
Hmm.
prefer to build things in the round. It's a little bit of extra work, but it for me, it provides that sense of realism that I want from my, I
Right.
guess, my RPG nature in Minecraft. But I feel like when you're doing the this like stuff at that scale, that even though you can't always see the detail, it does almost provide a mood for the viewer. Like,
Yes.
so like if you're coming in as just a player walking on the ground looking at this giant, Hall of Fame library, even though you don't know all the work that went into the detail in the ceiling, and you may not even be looking up, there's just this general, you can see the detail just kind of goes as far as your eye can see. You don't necessarily need to
Hmm.
look at it and break it down shape by shape. You just know that
Right.
Tadpole has touched everything from the ceiling to the floor, and
Yeah.
that gives a mood, like it gives a vibe, right?
Right.
And I think that's
Exactly.
important.
Yep. Exactly. You know it's there and you know you did it. And just like when you step back, you're just like, man, that looks like tying it all together is just so, I don't know, it's so satisfying. But I do the noodling, the little bit of here, I'll place 2 blocks, fly away, look at it. Okay, I like that. And you go
Mm-hmm.
back. Or like, no, I don't like that. I want to rotate this or try a different block. Same, I do the same thing. I go through so many rockets. It's like, what do you do? I fly everywhere. I love the wings. I love late game Minecraft.
Yeah, for me, I think the number one thing that I repair is probably my elytra, because now with netherite tools, like they last for so long.
Oh yeah,
But
yeah,
I'll go
yeah.
through and have to repair my elytra twice before I have to go repair my pickaxe. Although I guess if I'm going all the way to the zombified piglin farm to repair stuff, then I'm probably going to repair anything that I have that needs repair. I'm not just going to go just repair the elytra and then turn around and come
Right.
back. I'm going to repair everything too. So.
Yeah, you're there. You might as well do it
Yeah,
all.
but I'm only topping up the pickaxe. Like the pickaxe is like 70 or 80%,
Exactly. Yeah.
and this is like the second time that I've gone to repair the elytra. So
Right. I
it,
mean,
it
unless you're going haste mining, you're not gonna
no,
waste that pickaxe.
that's true. That's very, very true. So that's the single player, like long term world. What are you doing right now on Halcyon Heights?
So in Halcyon Heights, my long term plan is I don't know if you're familiar with the Drizzt Do'Urden story from Forgotten Realms. It's a dark elf.
Is that a book?
Yeah, so there's a book series. It's about a dark elf, a drow elf that has the conscience basically, and finds its way to the surface and has adventures. And I fell in love with those books years and years and years ago, and I just recently found out there's more that I haven't read. I didn't know that, so I love that. There's more that I can read. So that goes into a lot of description of his home world, Menza Bronzan. So I was like, I kind of want to build that. So I was like, the best place to build that in Minecraft would be an ancient city because they're the lowest part of the world. It's dark, it's spooky. So we found an ancient city in a mountain. We've removed pretty much everything. And I'm starting to build. I started to build structures in there for the dark elf families because they're run by families and they're all corrupt and crooked and it's wonderfully evil city. But the ceilings are too low. I got an ancient city where it's like really, really compact. Some are
Oh
like real
no.
expansive, real. You know how some are really, really big and wide open, and this one's like real shallow. It's like, oh man. So that's why we built the creeper farm for the gunpowder. We have a warden. One of the channel point redemptions was named something rare, and of course, my lovely community's like capture me a warden with all my channel points. So there's a warden living in the walls. It's a fun time. I do have plans for the darkness effect. I'd like the player to when they come visit on the SMP. I would love for the entrance to walk right past the warden to where you get the darkness effect. Like
Oh
somehow have
yeah.
to where he'd just get angry enough, not blast you through the wall, but you would get the darkness effect. And then as you enter the cavern, it would kind of dissipate. and then the city would like slowly reveal itself with the darkness as it dissipates. I think I figured it out, but I'm not certain yet. Like so for me, everything I do, I I pretty much do everything in survival. I've done very, very few things in creative, like testing.
Right.
It's like, all right, let's go try this for real. You know, it's like, let's go. That's the fun of Minecraft for me, is trying all the different things. Like, I'm gonna say in real time. It doesn't matter if you're in creative or survival, still playing the game, still having fun. But like, I just try to do everything in survival just for my brain.
I'm the same way, and I think that I get more out of it in that way. And I feel like it might be part of that RPG mindset where like you just in other RPGs where you're building or exploring or trying new builds, like you don't have a creative version that you try first. Like you try out the sword build and see if that works. And if you don't like it, then you
Right.
switch. You know, or if you
Right.
die a lot, you're like, well, this sucks. I'm going to switch and use more of a shield or be more of a paladin or like whatever whatever game allows you to switch back and forth between those kinds of things. And I think that Minecraft is the same with building, and that I prefer the idea of building in survival. I also, as an artist, from years of working, I really don't like doing things twice. If I build something in creative and then I have to do it again, I don't find it entertaining to do it again. I found it entertaining to do it the first time, and I have that satisfaction of having a breakthrough, or oh yeah, that's the great texture that I wanted, or that's the shape that I wanted, or this was a problem that I was facing and I fixed it. Yay. But now I'm just copying it, from
Right.
one world to the other. Now, on one hand, I can see it if it's a really big build
Yes.
and you want to do like a Lightmatica thing like Pixelriffs does, or a lot of other players do, specifically if it's a technical thing. So the one time, I shouldn't say one time, but the occasions when I do something in creative, it's often when I'm trying to work out a very specific redstone problem. Like I'm
Right.
copying a build from El Mango or some other really talented, redstone designer, and I'm trying to downscale it for our purposes on the Citadel so it doesn't take me a week to build. Like I want to do something smaller. I don't need 60,000 drops an hour. I need like 6,000,
Right.
like something much more modest. And in doing that, I don't like to generally do that live on stream or in survival, because I find I get very frustrated, and it's better for me, I think, to have that kind of stuff sorted out previous.
Right.
And when I do bring things into creative, that's usually what I do. The other thing I can think of for creative, as a note for people that do things in creative first, is that a lot of times people will be doing time lapses, and I can understand how you'd want a time lapse to be a clean
Yes.
production from start to finish and not have to cut out all of the trial and error that you and I would do in survival building, right?
Yes. 100% agree with that. That is definitely, especially the rain, trying to do time lapses with the rain. Oh my goodness. I
yeah,
just
it's
recently
great.
started doing that. Rain in Minecraft is real.
Oh, for sure. I feel like it rains more often on the Citadel than any other server I've ever watched. And I'm sure it's anecdotal. I'm sure it's just I get mad and I can't see what's going on. But I do feel like it rains a lot. Ever since they updated to 118, I feel like it's just been constantly battling the rain. Speaking of the plight of building in survival, I actually finished the outside of the keep this week. I took the time to do the textures on the west tower, which I've been putting off for a very long time because it's really tall. It's going to be 60 or 80 blocks tall. And you just know you're going to be spending a lot of time going up and down as you place a couple blocks, go all the way down to the ground, take a look at it, like it, don't like it, return to the scaffolding, all that kind of stuff. It's also not a very big tower. So what I was talking about earlier about the resolution of it only being a 5x5 tower at the very top means that the faces that you're looking at are only 3 blocks wide, maybe 5 in some places as it gets thicker or thinner. And that to me is difficult to get like a pattern or a texture or something to not look really blocky. So it was challenging. I think I've managed to do it. I leaned on the simple side. So it's mostly stone. It's got an andesite bottom that kind of slowly fades into the stone. And then I just kind of feathered a couple of bricks around, just enough to kind of get it looking the way that I wanted it to. I'm pretty happy with it. I think the big change that I made was previously it was stone all the way down to the river level. And what I did was I took the gradient that I had done on the apps of the keep and I brought that around the side. So now that wraps around the entire bottom of the keep on that west side. So anything lower than the main hall has this like deep slate, mud, basalt, tough cobblestone kind of look.
Mhm.
And then
Yeah,
anything
yeah.
from that mezzanine up is stone and andesite and much brighter blocks. So it creates kind of
Mhm.
a nice foundation. It feels heavy. It feels weathered. It feels like it's gotten wet, and the
Yeah.
river has affected it and all that kind of stuff. So I was quite
Yeah.
happy with the way that came out.
Yeah, it looks really good. Almost like shadows, like the top has been almost sun bleached in the bottom. Doesn't quite get it. It's more wet down there. Looks really, really good.
Yeah, I never thought about the sun bleach. That's a good idea too. Using the block color in Minecraft to kind of indicate shadow. It's tricky, but it can work sometimes.
I think you did it. I like when I looked at that, it's exactly what I thought. Like it's more shade down there. You have a little bit of an overhang. It's just naturally going to be darker and like a little dimmer down there. It looks really, really good. I like that.
Thanks, man. And I'm happy to have the exterior of the keep finished. I still haven't finished the inside, but that's because I need to take the time. I'm probably going to do this on stream actually, and load up a couple of different furniture mods and just kind of
Mhm.
take a look and see which one I might want to go with. I may also, in the instance of time, just bite the bullet and switch and update the tables and chairs data pack and just say, okay, we're going to use this for the rest. And speaking of creative, I remember when my patron server updated. I was talking with Mini Packs, and they said that because of the changes that happened with the update, a couple of mods just kind of went around on the server and just like used creative mode to replace tables and chairs that had broken because the mod broke older versions. I might do that. I can't see myself taking the time in survival to replace every table and chair in this town. Like it would take a couple of streams, and I'd rather make more progress than that.
A lot of times when I'm at your channel, I'm just kind of lurking and watching what you're doing and just like I'm learning. I'm still in that mode, you know what I mean? We're having a conversation, but I'm looking at this. I'm like, oh wow, this is so good.
Thanks, man. And I'll take the opportunity to also remind everyone that this is 3 years of work on the calendar. Like this is not something that happens in even a season of playing on an SMP. Like this is a very long time and very slow, methodical, getting something about 80% done, coming back to it later when you're ready, or when new blocks have been released for Minecraft that you wanted to use, like that kind of stuff. There's a lot of patience that went into this.
Yeah, yeah, so good. Like the interior stuff. I'm horrible at interior.
It's hard. It's not easy.
Like
It's taken me a long
I'm
time to
so
get used to
bad.
it.
Yeah, I'm so bad. Like I tried a little bit, but most of my builds, honestly, are just like the bigger builds with not much inside. If it's there's something inside, it's like on the bigger scale. There's a purpose for it. It's not like the minute little details or something like that. Like I still haven't. I've kind of played around with making tables and stuff, but not. I'm just not good.
Well, I took a break from all of it after finishing that tower, and the more that I travel back and forth out of West Hill, which I walk, I try not to fly that too often because it's just kind of fun to show off the area on stream. I realized that there's a couple of roads missing, and I have a checklist of things that I wanted to do out in like the West Hill Valley. And so I completed the road, the East Farm Road is what I'm calling it, that goes along the West Hill River. The West Hill River has been shaped, but it hasn't been landscaped. It hasn't been like a lot of the sand hasn't been removed from the river. But this
Mhm.
road kind of starts just inside of a farm and then travels down past what will be the graveyard to the east of West Hill. And all I did on that stream was just, outline the road, a lot of trial and error. Like, does it feel right? Is it curving right? What vistas am I framing as people travel down the road? Like when you go south, what are you looking at? Well, you're looking at the East Bridge and the eastern side of the town. Eventually the graveyard will be there too. And then when you're traveling north on the road, at first it just kind of took you to the wheat field and kind of like the crossroads where it will eventually, depending on whether she comes back to the server, hook up to Hannah's horse farm. But
Mhm.
right now, it just kind of went into nothing. So I turned the road after my first attempt so that when you're traveling south or north rather, you actually look at the wheat farm. So as you're traveling down the road, you actually see the wheat farm mill, the water wheel, and the building. And it was those little adjustments that made the road feel a lot nicer. And I was going to fill in this low-lying area, which you can see in some of the screenshots that I'll have in the show notes this week. And I decided on a whim, and also out of a little bit of laziness because I didn't want to fill in all those grass blocks. I was just like, you know what? This is a spot where there'd probably be some sort of stone bridge. It maybe wouldn't go over a body of water, but it would certainly be the kind of stone bridge that would make ease of travel. Like I can't
Mm-hmm.
see the road going down this little dip and then up this little dip because I'm thinking about like medieval horses pulling wagons and horses rolling in throwing shoes. Like that doesn't seem like a practical thing. So they would probably
Yeah.
fill it in and make a little bridge. But the more I looked at it, the more I thought that the area to the east, which is kind of on the top of the hill, I could maybe turn that into like a little marshy area and then
Oh yeah.
have a little, maybe not like a running river, but have like a little bit of soggy ground that kind of drains down into the river. And that would also give like a purpose to the bridge. And I mean, the bridge right now is just like straight stone blocks. It's just like a
Mm-hmm.
template that I'll fill in with detail later. But I like
Right.
it.
Right.
It's a little distracting, so I might make it shorter. Like I might not make it such a big deal. I might make it like a much smaller thing, but
Mm-hmm.
that'll change when I do the landscaping in that area. And that's one of my favorite things to do as a chill stream is just like going around and like smoothing out the landscape and like removing
Yeah.
the I call it the janky bits, the jagged bits of Minecraft natural generation and just kind of smoothing that kind of stuff out so it looks like a nice contour. And
Mm-hmm.
there are some places too where I'm going to have to add some cliffs, but all of a sudden I feel like I'm creating this list of things to do that are not West Hill, like it's outside of the town. So I'm trying to be careful of like I want to get this to be done enough
Mm-hmm.
where it looks good, but not have a list a mile long. So we'll see how
Yeah.
that goes because I'm kind of famous for creating more work than I really set out to.
That right there's a mood I identify with 100%. I try to keep those. So like if I have a big build, like you have West Hill, if I have a big build going on, but then there's the surrounding area, right? It's like, okay, but I want to make this look cool too. So I would like kind of maybe make a list of that as I'm building the big thing. And if I kind of get burned out a little bit, or like maybe even like builder's block, right? Like, I don't really know what to do, how to tie these together. I'll go over and I'll do like terraforming, which honestly, I've just recently started doing terraforming like this past year. Not an expert at it. It's just like, well, let's just place some blocks. Let's place these and see there. Like the bridge, I love the bridge, how that looks. It's kind of, it draws your eye to it. So you could do all kinds of little things right there. That looks really, really good. And like doing the little odd bits in here and there on stream is wonderful. I love doing it. It's kind of like people come in, hey, what are you doing? It's like, oh, I'm kind of working on this and just placing blocks here to see if I can make it fancy. And every once in a while, somebody will give you an idea or like, hey, I did this over on this world. I'm like, oh yeah, that sounds like a good idea. And maybe I'll try it. Maybe I won't. I don't know. But just the sharing of ideas on those streams like that, where you're just kind of puttering around, doing little stuff like that are great. I enjoy that so much about streaming.
Yeah, I think there's been some cool ideas brought forth in doing something where I don't really have a plan. Like I've got a plan for the keep. I've got a plan for certain builds in the town, but then when you're out doing roads and more natural environments, like little details around the world that just kind of make it feel lived in, those kind of things, I don't necessarily have a plan in my head. I just have my own artist vision. I'm just like, I know what I want here, but I'm going to arrive at it more organically through experimentation live on stream. And I've definitely had people say like, oh, hey, what about this block? Or what about that block? Because I said, oh, like, I don't know. Like, I feel like, of course, it's kind of a meme on my channel. I've used a lot of spruce trapdoors, and sometimes people say like, what about a mangrove or what about this? I'm just like, you know what? That might actually work. Like you just, why not make this wharf red? Because we can do that now. I find that sometimes because of just habit, you forget what blocks are in Minecraft. And then someone's like, well, my favorite block is like X. And you're like, oh, actually, that's not a bad idea. Like, let's see what that looks like,
I really like that bridge. That bridge is like really, it draws my eye really actually to what you can. I'm interested to see. I know you're focused on West Hill, but I'm really interested to see what you come up with in the future.
Thanks, man.
There's lots of possibilities right in that one little area right there. I think you're gonna make something really cool. Looking forward to it.
It's fun to lean into the natural landscape too, like not completely revamp it and flatten it out. Just kind of like, well, there's a valley here. Let's just see what could I do in the valley. I think that's an easy. It's honestly an easier way to play because like in some way Minecraft makes the decisions for you.
Yes, 100%. I know exactly what you're saying.
Moving on to the news this week, Minecraft Java Edition Snapshot 23W35A was released. Quote, we are releasing the new snapshot that contains updates to support libraries and a whole bundle of bug fixes. Technical changes in 23W35A. The LWJGL library has been updated to version 3.3.2. The default Java version shipped with the game has been upgraded to Microsoft OpenJDK 17.0.8. Fixed bugs of note in 23W35A. Baby camels that are not moving face in the direction of their adults when pathfinding to players that are tempting them. Sniffers, frogs, goats, and camels prioritize pathfinding to their lover when fed over panicking when being damaged. Sitting camels that have a passenger continuously look up and down for other players. Force-loaded chunks reset when changing versions. Z-fighting occurs on the backs of bamboo chest rafts. And shift-clicking to unequip armor bypasses vibrations in survival. And last but not least, some mobs can still attack you through blocks. There are more bugs that were addressed. For the full list of bugs in the snapshot, visit minecraft.net, and the article will be linked in our show notes. Last call to migrate to Mojang accounts. Starting September 19th, 2023 at 11 a.m. Eastern or 5 p.m. Central European Standard Time, unmigrated Mojang accounts will not be able to be signed into Minecraft.net or the Minecraft launcher to migrate. This is to ensure that everyone is playing using accounts with improved security and player safety. If you still have not switched to a Microsoft account, make sure to migrate before the deadline to keep your account access Minecraft Bedrock Edition for Windows, and claim your free cape. The migration process only takes a couple of minutes, and all of your data, including your username, progress, creations, and skins, will be there. For more information, we will have a link to the Java migration FAQ in our show notes for this episode. Definitely go ahead and do that migration, folks, if you haven't already. It's really simple. I did it as soon as it became available to me. It only takes a couple of minutes, and the benefits of having a more secure Minecraft account speak for themselves, especially if you are anyone that currently is or has hopes of making Minecraft content. Like if you try to make this part of your livelihood or even just a hobby or a side hustle, it's important to lock this stuff down. Or maybe you're just doing this as just a passion project, but you've got stuff that's important to you. So make sure you update to those accounts, because the extra security and two-factor authentication is 100% worth it. Plus, you get access to Bedrock Edition, on Windows. It's a nice touch. I think that's a really smart thing that Mojang is doing, so that, for me, while I don't play Bedrock, if I ever needed to, for the spawn chunks or for any other kind of event, I have access because I picked it up by migrating my account. So just a nice reminder. We'll have all the links in the show notes, but it's a nice reminder to double check to make sure you and your friends have made your migration before September 19th of this year. The snapshot really doesn't have a lot going on right now. A lot of bug fixes. So there's not going to be a lot of long news discussion here. There wasn't anything mentioned at all about villagers or villager trading. We may not see that experimental feature introduced in a couple weeks when it comes out in 1.20.2. I say a couple weeks, I'm speculating, because there's really not many changes or fixes. So we'll have to see what comes through. I don't know whether that means Mojang is happy with the changes that they proposed, or if it means they got to go back to the drawing board and they need more time to work on the experimental villager trading stuff. We will just have to wait and see. But this week's snapshot seems to be mostly under the hood fixes, and then some outward bug squashing, like all the camel stuff that they were fixing.
I was wondering if it was like, did this mean there's not much here? So does it mean we're ready? We're going to get it soon? Or like you said, are they going to go back to the drawing board because there was, is there that much negative feedback from the villager, changing to the villagers? I don't know. I have no idea either way. But it'll be interesting to see which way they go in the next coming weeks. The only thing I thought was really cool was the pathfinding for when you're breeding animals, because who amongst us has not misclicked and accidentally smacked the animal they're trying to breed with the other?
Yeah.
And then it runs away and you're like, no.
I think that some of that behavior stuff is just consistency, and I appreciate it when Mojang spots stuff like that. Like you expect breeding camels to behave the same as breeding cows, breeding chickens, right, like all that kind of stuff. So I think that's an important thing to look at. I don't necessarily ride camels, but I think that there's also that real, even though I wouldn't necessarily call Minecraft a super immersive game, I feel like if you got on the back of a camel and it starts like headbanging like it's at an AC/DC concert, then like that's going to be distracting and it's going to feel really buggy. Like you're going to be like, what is going on? Why is this camel constantly bowing its head? And it makes it hard to see. Like I'm sure the experience is probably not what they want, and so I can see them prioritizing that. But it's interesting how I've noticed, especially with the minor updates over the last couple of months as they've introduced this, there really does seem to be a split. So you look at a list of bugs, and it may not be the same every week, but overall, if you look at the full list of bugs that are fixed in these minor updates, it's like half of them are like these visual bugs like Z fighting or animations or the camel doing funky things. And then the rest of it is like the under the hood stuff, the library changes, there's UI changes, there's all these different things that are just like the extra icing on the cake, the polish that just does not really require a full release, but also isn't as showy. Like saying, hey, we fixed like 200 under behind the scene bugs on the latest version of Minecraft. That doesn't really sell tickets. You know what I mean? Like it's hard to market that as like, look what we've done. You can't tell, but it's better. And
right.
So these minor updates are definitely a good spot for that. And I feel like the bug list is not that the bug list is growing, but the fixed bug list is much larger, I feel, on these minor updates than it is on the major updates, which is probably good. Like I again, I don't know for sure, but I feel like with these minor updates, I wonder if the development process for the major updates becomes then smoother because there's less to worry about. The game is running better. They have a more stable platform to then add new features or work new features into existing game mechanics. And I'd imagine it makes everybody's life a lot easier with these minor updates that focus on these behind the scenes changes.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. You kind of clean up the little things, and then when you add a big thing, it's not that disruptive on the back end of it.
Moving on into chunk mail, we have just one email this week from Captain Kramer, gamers of all ages. Hello, Joel and Johnny and Tadpole. Minecraft was first introduced to me by my kids. When creating our latest realm for 1.20, the realization of just how much this game transcends generations hit me. This really is a game that can appeal to a wide variety of ages, a game of preferences. I find myself decorating houses with some of my younger girls, building farms and redstone contraptions with my older son, and we all have a blast exploring the world. This is the first time an old gamer like myself has found a game that all of my kids and I can play while actually enjoying it. I love seeing what their young creative minds build, so I end up spending most of my time gathering resources for them to build with, which suits me just fine. It gives me a reason to build cool things like a super smelter and frogolite farms. Do you guys have any thoughts or experiences playing with a younger crowd? Captain Kramer died while playing referee to 4 siblings with friendly fire turned on. That's one way to go. That's one way to go.
I can relate to that one.
So I'm going to defer to you off the start here, Tadpole, because I don't have any kids of my own. But I know you do, and I feel like Minecraft has been something in the household.
Oh yeah, this is almost my like origin story in Minecraft. I have 4 daughters. The 2 youngest wanted me to play Minecraft with him at one point, and I was like, okay, because we played a bunch of games on the Xbox, like a lot of first-person shooter games and stuff like that. And they're like, hey, let's play Minecraft. I'm like, okay, let's play Minecraft. And we started a world with my 2 youngest, and then daughter 3 was like, yeah, okay, I'm gonna go do this other thing now. And then me and my youngest played actually, and we found, that was my first world in Minecraft, and I experienced Minecraft as an adult through the eyes of a young child. Okay, so the first time we saw an Enderman, she screamed and almost threw the controller. So I was extremely scared. Like I didn't know what was going on. I'm like, what's happened? What do we need to do? And she's like, just don't look at it. I'm like, are you kidding me? So then we progress to the game and we go to the Nether, and she's like actually terrified, sitting next to me, like really scared. And I'm like, are you okay? She's like, hey, just gotta be really careful. You just gotta be really careful. And then she hears a ghast scream in the distance, and I don't even see it. I don't even know what she's just getting all upset about. And she goes back to the portal. I'm like, where'd you go? She's like, there's a ghast. I'm like, what are you talking about? And she's like, you can't be in there. So I was like, I left. And then a couple of days later, she calmed down. We went back. And then she saw a zombie piglin, and she screamed again. And I almost threw the controller because she screamed. I'm like, what is wrong? It was just the most intense thing. Like Minecraft can be intense as it is if you let yourself be immersed in it. But playing with her and her reactions to these things that we were encountering in Minecraft while we're learning, and I didn't know, like she knew some stuff and how to craft things and how to do certain things, and just knew that like if you hit a zombie piglin, they would all attack you and you'd be wrecked. You're not getting out basically, unless you're like really really good. So just seeing them like made her that intense. This is like playing with the younger is so much fun. I loved it so much. It was the way I learned how to play Minecraft. And then from playing with her is how I met Pix through the YouTube series. And then that's how I met you through Pix. And it was just that was my roots. Like that's how I learned how to play Minecraft. I love it. I think it's the best game ever. And it doesn't matter how you play. There is no wrong way. And it's just the greatest game in my opinion.
I wonder how many people out there originally dismissed Minecraft because of its looks, because of the kiddiness nature of it, because so much of the Minecraft marketing really focuses on the young crowd, like a lot of the Minecraft marketplace, like there's Ninja Turtles this summer because of the movie that came out. There was Star Wars when Star Wars was coming out. There's all that kind of stuff that kind of comes into the marketing around it. And it just feels very like, especially if you're a modern gamer, like an adult gamer, like you look at Minecraft and you kind of go, I don't know. Like if I don't know what this is, then like, why would I be interested in playing this like 60 pixel resolution, blocky looking game? Especially because so much of the marketing around Minecraft is not first person. It's usually a camera that shows a bunch of different players running around doing something. And to me, it really doesn't look very good because like players kind of treadmill, they don't have knees, like there's all that kind of stuff. But you don't see any of that, especially if you're on a single player world. Like it's just you. And the experience of being immersed in Minecraft, even though I just kind of said that counterpoint earlier, is definitely the first person perspective. Like as someone that's played a lot of first person shooters, like that's where Minecraft really was sold to me as like, okay, I get to build from like this perspective. It's not top down. I'm not building a city like in City Skylines or Sim City or something like that. I'm not doing an RTS. Like I'm actually down on the ground in it. And when I build something, I can then climb up inside of it. Like that, how cool is that to me? Right. So like that's where I kind of got hooked into it. But when I watch my niece, because I don't have any kids of my own, but my niece is coming up on she's in double digits. But she played Minecraft early on the Bedrock edition for tablet. And so I really wasn't much help because like I couldn't control anything because I Bedrock won, but tablet controls are just beyond me. I'm a keyboard and mouse guy. I can't even play Minecraft on the Xbox because the controllers are just too slow for me.
Really? Yeah, they are slow. It is.
For Minecraft anyway. The inventory, getting into your inventory is a real pain. So when I was watching her play though, it was, as Captain Kramer mentioned, this really eye-opening experience of she built a pink house with a yellow glass roof because she could, because it was there. Right. I mean, I'll asterisk that she was playing in creative mode, but still, like, it was whatever she wanted to do. There was a small hobby farm outside. There were different colored enclosures for the different animals. She had paid attention to like where is she gonna sleep, because I think the day-night cycle was still happening, even though it was creative. And so that there's all these things that she had thought of that she had put in there. And it was very much a window into the mind of yes and. I'm not going to go back and change the pink house and the yellow roof, but if I'm not happy with part of it, I'm just going to add something onto it. Like this is my second bedroom because I didn't like the first bedroom, and I'll give the first bedroom to the cow because like, well, I don't want to sleep in it myself, but it's okay for the cow. The cow doesn't care that much. And so you see all these stories that are forming in her head, even if she's not articulating it out loud. Everything had a reason. It wasn't just like helter skelter. And I think a lot of that has to do with, young kids being dropped into a Minecraft world where there's grass, there's trees, there's lakes, there's rivers, there's mountains, like stuff that is vaguely familiar, and you see animals that you're familiar with, like, you generally know what a cow is by the time you're 10. And so you can say, okay, well, cows usually eat hay and they live on farms and they're in pastures. I should probably put a fence around them. Like there's all these just intuitive things that you can do to mimic the world around them. And what I find so interesting, and what I think is the big appeal to Minecraft for young people, is like, you have to go to school, You have to come home. You have to do your homework. You have to eat when your parents tell you. You have to go to bed when your parents tell you. You've got to brush your teeth when your parents tell you. And then in Minecraft, you're the boss.
Exactly.
And you can do whatever you want within the game, gameplay restrictions, but still it's very much a sandbox. And that to me is, I think, when I watch or see any kind of young people, because I've watched some like Minecraft videos where it's been like a Mojang promotion where kids have been doing something. I recall, I mean, it's been years now, but I think we featured it on the Spawn Chunks where, oh, you know what? I think it was part of Minecraft Live. There was a group of kids in Europe that were redesigning their local decrepit playground in Minecraft. And then they presented those plans to the town or city council. And then city council rebuilt the playground based on kid feedback. Like it should have swings here, and it should have a teeter-totter there, and it could have a merry-go-round here. And but they built it in Minecraft. And then they, the city then worked with like architects and public space designers to actually make it happen. I am 99% sure that was a Minecraft Live video, but it was just really cool because like the kids have got the imaginations for it, and and then have given the tool that they already know how to use. Then I think it's really, really cool.
Right.
So I haven't had any like firsthand experience playing with any kids, but I've definitely seen the benefits of it.
Oh, it is an experience and a half. I mean, hands down, it was the best time ever. And I honestly just got hooked on this game so bad. And then they were like, okay, kids are like, oh, we're into this for a while. And then they kind of move on to the next thing, then the next thing, and the next thing. And I'm like, I can't get enough of this. Like, I started playing Minecraft. And I'm like, I can't get enough of this stuff. It is amazing how you can literally play this game, because we grew up with a lot of games like, this is how you do it. These are the rules. This is what you do. There's no other way. You have to do ABC to get to D every time. There's no deviating. This is it. There's a right way and a wrong way, and this is it. Minecraft is not that way. Minecraft is turn it on, sit down, play however you want to play. And I love that. I love seeing what comes of that from every different walk of life. You see all these different amazing things in Minecraft. It's just it just blows my mind almost daily when I see new things, people doing new things, trying different things, and it's like, how did you come up with that?
Yeah.
it's just fantastic. I love it.
It'll be interesting to see, as the years go on with Minecraft, how young people, like my niece or like people that are maybe now 15 or 16, as they leave the game, as they get into other interests, in other video games or other time things like, sports or whatever, if they eventually come back to it, and see how the game has changed over the years and have that same early imagination sparks. They understand what Minecraft is. They know that it's like this free reign game, but then you come into it with that knowledge, but as an adult, you're like, oh, wow. Because I mean, as an artist, I kind of knew what I was getting into when I started to play Minecraft, but I still took a little while to realize like what was possible. And just like I think you have to, even as a patient person, naturally, I had to realize that if I want to do anything that's going to satisfy me in this game visually, I'm going to have to realize it's going to take me a long time, and that started with one of my first builds. Like I made this Snake Mountain type build that was like a nod to the Skeletor's base from He-Man. And I'd love to redo it at some point, knowing now, what I know about Minecraft at the scale. And like, I would love to be able to do more stuff like that. And, but just then knowing just how long it would take to get it all done.
Oh yeah.
But it would, it would look fantastic. Especially now that we have more blocks than I did back then.
Oh yeah. The color palette you could use now. Oh
yeah. It'd be really, really cool. I promised myself I'd move on from the medieval type fantasy stuff for my next project, so it won't be anytime soon. But there's always a He-Man cartoon bookmarked on Netflix that I never get back to, so we'll see. But speaking of getting into Minecraft and spending a lot of time playing Minecraft, one of the things that I've been wanting to talk about on the show for a while, and actually had you in mind, Tadpole, because of the way that your streams have been shaping up lately. And then, of course, me entering into my 5th year now streaming. I wanted to talk about the challenges of live streaming Minecraft. And I'll clarify a little bit here because I had a couple of ideas, a couple of points. So I want to approach this as like, what are some of the challenges of streaming Minecraft as someone relatively new to streaming? What are the challenges of streaming Minecraft for someone where Minecraft has been their main focus for years of streaming content? And then what are the challenges of creating content with Minecraft where streaming is the only avenue for that content? So you're not doing YouTube edited videos, you're not doing tutorials. It's like streaming is the main driver in the content creation. So one of the things that I think from me being more experienced is I find that as someone that's into Minecraft and has been for a while, especially with the Minecraft podcast, and I want to be clear, I'm not at all bitter about it, anything like that, but I do find that because the community has been built up around Minecraft, I find it difficult to play other games on stream and branch out and maintain the same kind of level of success or engagement or interest. I do find in general, this is, so I know there's always people out there that are different, but I do find in general that the bulk of Minecraft viewers tend to be only interested in more Minecraft. And I'll often see, like, even if you go to raid somebody, you've been doing a Minecraft stream and you're passing people on to somebody else that is maybe not doing a Minecraft stream, or they're doing a slightly different Minecraft stream where it's not survival or something, and people just bail. Like they just, you'll send half of your crew along because they all go and watch somebody else just playing Minecraft. And so that to me, I think, coming from my own standpoint as a more experienced streamer, has been one of the major difficulties of streaming Minecraft. But I have noticed that you'll have some better retention if you're doing other building games. So something like, a city builder or any kind of like a efficiency games like Satisfactory that I do, where there's still a lot of creative stuff going on. There's a lot of like base building, that kind of stuff. You'll find that sometimes people will stick around, but it's really kind of a crapshoot. And that goes for both channel engagement as well as my own engagement, and I find that I don't want to throw stones from a glass house here, because I will switch to a different building game and then be just like, this is good, but it's not as satisfying as what I'm doing in Minecraft, and it's funny how, like, even though it's a shiny game, it's got some better graphics, it's got better special effects, all this kind of stuff. I may not be getting the same creative satisfaction from this new building game that I am from Minecraft. So in a way, I can understand why the Minecraft viewers kind of tend to stick to just Minecraft. And it's interesting. I even see some division within Minecraft streams, people that stream heavily modded series or limited series versus people that have like a long-term world, or people that play strictly vanilla. I even mentioned, last week on the show, that I'm even having trouble deciding how far into modded Minecraft I want to take the Citadel, because we've been talking about adding a furniture mod for the modern city and to fix some issues that I'm having with Westhill. And like, I always tote the Citadel experience as vanilla with a couple of tweaks for UI and performance. I really try not to get into too much as far as gameplay and blocks. Like, we don't have any general blocks that are not in the game for other people. I think the only things that we'd have are things like vanilla tweaks that are just retextured mob heads, but those exist. Like that's not a brand new thing. It's just a retextured thing. And I think for whatever reason, my mind splits mods and resource packs into different categories. Like, resource packs are just part of the vanilla game. You can change things however you want. And then mods are like, but that's where you get like a chair, and that doesn't exist from Mojang. Like, they don't make those. And that's where you kind of have to, split your hairs. But I feel like I'm always on the fence about how far I want to push even that vanilla Minecraft experience, because like, I don't want to alienate anybody that's been coming to my stream for a long time that's used to the vanilla experience. And in a way, and I know that this is a point that Johnny makes all the time, which is the limitations of vanilla Minecraft push and fuel creativity in order to come up with new things to do with the existing blocks, rather than just having a new block that solves the problem. You have to come up with a more creative way to do that. And so I'm always on the fence. But those are kind of like the the challenges that I find, as a streamer that wants to do more streaming with other games and other experiences, as a longtime Minecraft player, those are generally what I've been seeing. Now,
Right.
you are more of a, we'll say in comparison, you're more of a new streamer. You're coming up, I think,
Oh
on 2
yes.
years this December.
Yeah. Yeah. December will be 2 years.
And
I'm a baby.
yeah, and out of that though, how long have you been full time?
This is starting my second week, something like that.
Right.
Not long.
So
Yeah.
very, very new to doing it as a full-time time investment. So
Yeah.
from a new streamer perspective, like what's your take on the challenges of streaming Minecraft as someone that's new to streaming relatively?
So I think I look at it different than a lot of people. I'm gonna stream Minecraft because I love playing Minecraft. So when I started my channel, I basically wanted to create a space where I would play Minecraft, and it's a throwback to when I was a kid and people would come over and hang out at your house. All right, and like your friends would be over, someone would play music, someone's chatting, someone's playing cards, whatever. You're just hanging out. People come and go all day long, different people. That's kind of what I envisioned for my channel, and it kind of grew from that, and it just kept growing from that. So, like, I look at it as I'm creating that space for people to come hang out, and it's kind of how it does. People come in, they'll say hi, we'll chit chat, we'll talk about this or that, the day's things, and then they may come and go, they may hang out the whole time. I don't know, but I've had a lot of people say you should play something different. You should maybe play this or play that, and if I feel like playing it, I will. But I feel like if I'm trying to force myself to play quote unquote what's popular, it's gonna come through my streams. So people are gonna know I'm not being genuine. I'm not genuinely in love with what I'm doing. Down the road, maybe we'll try new things. I don't know, but for right now, I feel probably because it's like a comfort, like a comfy blanket, right? You want to be comfortable where you're at because this is all new. This is very scary for me, honestly. Like it's exciting and scary all at the same time. So it's like a lot of excitement right now. Like in my personal life, but like for streaming and stuff, like if you truly enjoy what you're doing, like what I've noticed with all the other communities I've gone to and been around and kind of lurked and paid attention, like when you tell somebody is truly invested and they love what they're doing, that shows through, and people recognize that, and people will come and they'll hang out and they'll recognize that you're a genuine person. You enjoy what you're doing, and you're not just doing it for, hey, yeah, I'm doing this for, this is my job, but come in and anyway, it's a fine line you have to walk, right? You don't want to talk about the money part. You want to keep it all light and airy and everything, but everybody should know most of the people are doing it for that if that's their job. But you don't want to talk about it because it's kind of like taboo, right? So if I start leaning into that side, the side that you don't want to talk about too much, I feel like that's gonna hurt my channel. That's not really the vibe I'm kind of going for. That's me. This is like what I'm talking about, how I'm trying to do stuff. And then what I try to do to grow recently, I've been trying to put the clips we make on my channel on YouTube, and on TikTok. Recently started TikTok. Just every day upload a new clip. Hopefully there's some funny thing that happened. Usually it's me misclicking something, burning a full stack of rockets or something. And then maybe we'll get some viewers from that. People come in and hang out and chit chat with the people that are there. And the people that hang out in my streams are super nice and generous and just actually really, really genuine people to talk to. And I've been very, very fortunate. I hear a lot of horror stories of people on streaming and bad interactions with people coming in and, trying to be mean and all this and that. And I think I've been like kind of blessed with you don't have too many knuckleheads coming in your stream. You know, it's really been really good. And another thing is like I did spend a lot of time in other channels, not so much chatting too much, but like watching and trying to learn like what is the streamer doing? How are they doing things? Like what is their cadence? What is their pace? Like what is their interaction with chat too? Because some streamers don't really interact with chat and some interact a lot, and they both have different levels of success. I didn't find a clear blueprint to like this is what you do. I kind of equate it because I've had people ask me like, how did you do this? How did you do this? Because I don't think I'm that big or anything. I still think I'm small. I'm like, I don't know. I kind of equate it to if you ever watch Days of Thunder when Tom Cruise is sitting there talking to the pit leader, and you're talking about the pitch and the wedge and all the stuff on the car, and Tom Cruise is like, I don't know what you just said. They told me to drive, I drive.
Right.
I'm learning how to do this stuff on the back end as I'm doing it. Like that's kind of me. Like honestly, I just kind of jumped in and like I'm gonna do this, and then you see all these things. Like there's all these free tools out there for you to use, like TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Put your content there. It doesn't matter what it is. Just put it out there. Just keep putting it out there. People will see it eventually. Just keep putting it out there. Don't stop. Especially if you love what you're doing. Just if you love what you're doing, it might be a little bit of a chore to do it every day. But once you set it up, it's really easy to do. You just kind of get in a vibe. You're just constantly putting it out there. Because I don't really see myself as a YouTuber. I see myself more as a streamer. That one-on-one interaction, with you in the chat, the live interaction. I feel like I flow better that way than having a YouTube where I'm scripted and I'm kind of creating. I mean, I may get into that later, but I'm not feeling that. I'm just trying to go where I feel good right now. So that's me. I don't know if it's good or bad or what, but it seems to be working, and then full steam ahead.
I like how that touches on the challenges of just streaming Minecraft. So like even if Minecraft isn't your game or isn't, the only thing that you stream, if streaming is the only way that you produce content, I find that is a challenge where, you have to have another funnel, because discovery on Twitch is not the best. Every now and again, you'll get some new people, but most of the time that I see new people arriving in my chat, they're very often coming from this show. So you've got a Minecraft podcast that shows up when people look for it on Google. You've got the episodes that Johnny posts on the Spawn Chunks YouTube channel, and then we have the YouTube algorithm that helps out, with stuff like that. We do live coverage of Minecraft events, and that's on YouTube as well. And then they're like, oh, there's a podcast. And then they listen to a couple of episodes of the podcast where, I have been mentioning my Twitch channel and my build that I do live on Twitch for like years. And people just get curious and they end up popping in. So, but that's the only funnel that I currently have, because it's funny that you mentioned the things that you really enjoy doing. And I love my job. I love podcasting. I really enjoy streaming. I really like Minecraft. I do not enjoy social media. I am more of a social media consumer than I am a social media producer. I've never been someone that likes being on camera. And so when you've got video-based social media taking precedent over photography-based social media with Reels and TikToks, and I don't remember what they're called on Facebook, and, different things on different avenues. And I mean, like, who knows what's happening with Twitter right now. So I use them as broadcasting platforms to say, hey, I'm live, come check out the channel. But there's no other reason for people to follow me on social media other than like updates on, that kind of stuff, or sharing other passions like, my barbecue or my, cooking, things like that. But it's not a Minecraft focus. Like you can't necessarily see clips of me doing stuff on Instagram or TikTok. And I think part of it is that I've had these social media platforms for way longer than I've been, streaming Minecraft. And so for a long time, they were really art focused. And then over time, they just became a little bit more personal. And I could start a brand new channel, but start over again seems kind of dumb, because then you're just like, then you're really throwing, sticks into the wind and hoping for the best. If you're starting a new Joel Duggan Minecraft on Instagram and hoping that people find you, like, again, the only funnel that I would have to direct people to that social media would be this podcast. And so I've not found the workflow yet for getting stuff up on TikTok, which I know I absolutely have to do, and because the discoverability on Twitch is low, and you need to be consistent. And I think that's one of the things that's important too. Like, and you understand, I think I'm going to say, just as a slightly older streamer than the average new streamer.
Oh yes.
And I mean, because we're both about the same age, so I'm not throwing sticks and stones here.
No.
But it's one of those things where you have that work ethic and you understand, look, if I want to do something and I want it to be successful, you got to do it consistently. And I think that is one of the things that people will appreciate, in that they know what to expect. They, you're on at a certain time every day, you're on certain days of the week, and I think that really helps with the retention. But then you've also got to figure out how to get people coming down into that. And you can't be consistent like that if you don't like it. right? Like you really have to be,
Exactly.
really have to be enjoying it in order to,
Yes.
do that.
Yes. It becomes a chore, and you don't want to do chores. You know, you don't.
Yeah.
I can go get a 9 to 5 doing something I don't like, right?
Yeah.
We all can. We all can. That's not that hard, but doing something you enjoy and finding a way to monetize it that's the goal, right? That's the ultimate goal. So you have your regulars, you try to get new people in, right? So like I said, like just recently I started a TikTok maybe a month ago, maybe. And so every day I upload a TikTok every single day, and I have it linked to my Twitch account. That's the only reason it's there is like maybe somebody's going to be like, hey, this is pretty funny. I'm going to hop over and check out Twitch. And maybe they'll become a new regular viewer. I don't know. But if I don't do that, I absolutely miss out on all that whole platform of people that may not know that Tadpole Milk is out here streaming on Twitch, playing Minecraft, having a good time. You know, same thing with YouTube. That's the whole reason I do YouTube is I put my clips there, linked it with Twitch, hoping we get some more people to come over and say hello. That's the whole reason I use it. I need to get better at using Instagram and Facebook. I'm terrible at using those ones. I'm like you. I was not a big posting everything on social media. I was never really good at it. I'm learning all this stuff. I'm behind the times basically. So I'm playing catch up in all those avenues. But it's been so much fun learning and just trying all these new things and like, well, maybe this will work. And it takes time. So it's not like an instant gratification thing. Like you said, patience with building in Minecraft. I equate it to the same thing with like the social media platforms and getting my name out there and just seeing if we can get somebody to come in and say hello, basically. So I still feel like I'm new and like totally, absolutely inexperienced at all this and do not feel like I should be giving advice on anything. This definitely is weird.
But I think that that's valid too, right? Because when you're starting off as a streamer, for anybody in our audience that's thinking about starting to stream Minecraft, then like you, it's hard to get advice from somebody that's been doing it for 10 years and has like 10,000 followers. Like the advice that they have is going to be hard to be relevant to you as you are starting off with 5 viewers, 4 of whom are family members, and you're just trying, you know? And I think that, you know, the advice that they have is often in a good way. They're, you know, good, just be yourself and be consistent and all that kind of stuff. But sometimes I think that people that are starting off are looking for more granular tips because the broad strokes are kind of easy to look at over a year. But when you've only been streaming for like a month or two, then you have to kind of like, okay, well, like what kind of things could I do now that will affect my month to month rather than just like an overall successful, I don't want to say career, but like an overall successful channel. There's a difference, I think, between those broad strokes and the finer things. And so I think that one of the things that people might get overwhelmed by is like trying to stand out in a sea of Minecraft streamers. Because boy, there's a lot. You know, like at any given time, there's a lot. And I think that you mentioned it earlier, and I'll reiterate, which is like to stay away from gimmicks, you know, like stay away from emulating other streamers, copying them or putting on a facade or being goofy because you think it's in, or, you know, I feel like just doing the things that you want to do at the pace that you want to do them, and you will find your audience. There's a fine line. You don't want to be boring. Like you want to be engaged and you want to be there and you want to be interacting with chat and stuff, which I mean, honestly, if you've got a small chat room starting off, congratulations. You can talk to everyone in that chat.
Exactly.
It gets a lot harder the more people show up. And I, as much as I look at larger channels, you know, like say you look at some of the hermits when they're streaming and they've got, you know, between 6,000 and 7,000, you know, people in chat, that's awesome. But it's really hard for them to engage with an individual meaningfully because it just goes by so fast. And there could be really good people that would really like to interact with that streamer, but they just can't because of the sheer volume.
You just get lost in the wash.
Yeah. So it's a little bit harder that way. But I think that, you know, to go with what you were saying earlier, I think a new streamer should not be afraid of rolling what you think is fun within Minecraft. Like, let's say maybe you're really into PvP. Maybe you hate PvP. Maybe you really like exploring. Maybe you want to do the archaeological stuff that's in Minecraft now. Like there's a bunch of different things that you can do, you know, to progress the game and play that you want to play. but
Yes.
lean into the stuff that you find fun. I find building fun. I do not find fighting the game fun. Like, I don't want to go fight the warden. It's not the game for me. I would much prefer to play something like Borderlands 3 or Halo and engage with PvE content that way, and then leave Minecraft up to what I feel it's better at, which is building and creating spaces and things like that. And so if you're new and you've got an interest, lean into it. And I would say that having a plan to start is a good idea. As you get better at streaming and better at Minecraft in general, you can fly by the seat of your pants more often because your general Minecraft and streaming knowledge is going to be deeper and you'll be able to roll with the punches a little bit better. But I feel like having a goal that's a good size, I think, will pay off. I'm not suggesting people build West Hill, but something that I've learned from building West Hill is that as people have come into my channel, I now have two things that will hopefully keep them coming back. I hope that they engage with me. I hope they find my presentation to be relaxing and engaging and fun. But I've also found that people are like, hey, I came here for you since I found the podcast and heard that you stream, but now I'm really invested in West Hill and I want to see how it looks in the end. And so they've become invested in the project as a hook, as well as, you know, you as a streamer. And I think that can benefit streamers in a lot of ways, because if you're streaming consistently, you're going to have days where you're not going to feel like going live. You're going to have days where you're not in the best mood. Granted, I will say that generally when I'm in a bad mood, podcasting and streaming will put me in a good mood on the other side of it, because you kind of have to put a smile on your face. You have to be engaging. You have to be upbeat. And that, I think, mentally kind of like resets your brain a little bit. But on those days where you're not as engaging, because maybe you're just tired, maybe you're in a good mood, you're just exhausted, then you've got a project that still is hooking people. Like, even if I'm walking around West Hill and not talking much, there's still a lot of people going like, wow, how long did this take? And so you can you can start to talk about stuff that's just of interest, because you've got something that's been taking a while on stream. And I feel like that's generally a good thing for most people.
And even if you only have one person, like when I started, I had 0 people. Okay, I'm sure we all did. When you started streaming, you hit to go live. The first time you're biting your nails and you're like, I want to do this. So, but you do it and you don't, like, what do I do? So some of the best advice I got, like I said, I would kind of hang out in other people's chats, was, so I took I took a little bit of Pix and I took a little bit of Pearl when I very first started. Pearl's advice, and I didn't even ask, I heard her tell somebody else that asked, was, how do you start streaming? Like, what do you do when there's no one there? And she's like, just talk about what you're doing. You know, oh, I'm walking over here. I'm going to start chopping these trees down. Like, I'm chopping these trees down. You know, I need to collect all these logs. I want to build this thing. I need to get all these resources for this. And then Pix would do the, you know, chopping Tuesdays, resource gathering stuff. So I'm like, you know, that is kind of like the grindy bits of Minecraft are fun, but at the same time, it's kind of lonely when you're just playing by yourself, right? So I was like, you know, I want to stream this. I want to share this with people. I'm going to build this thing, but I have to gather these resources as well. I might as well have someone talk to while I'm doing it. Well, when you first start, you don't have anybody talking to you. So you're just talking to yourself, basically. But I'm still, because I loved the game, I just kept going. And somebody came in and was like, hey, what you doing? And then I was like, hey, I'm chopping this tree. You know, and it just kind of went from there. So you just have a conversation with that one person that comes in, and hopefully another one comes in and joins the conversation. And it's just kind of how it builds. That's how I looked at it. That's how I started. Like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to play Minecraft anyways. That's how I say. If you want to stream it, I'm not saying everyone has to stream, because it's not for everyone. But if you want to, whatever game you're playing, hopefully it's Minecraft. You just start playing and you just start sharing what you're doing. Just share your experience.
You turn the inner monologue to an external monologue.
Yes, exactly.
That will wrap up this episode of the Spawn Chunks. You can find more information about the show and links to some of the things that Tadpole and I talked about at thespawnchunks.com. The music for the show is composed by Johnny, who will be returning next week. The Spawn Chunks is proud to be a listener-supported podcast. If you get value out of the show, why not consider putting some value back in? Visit patreon.com/thespawnchunks to join the community, where pledging at any level will get you an invite to the patron-only Discord chat and give you an opportunity to participate in things like the live show recording and the monthly Minecraft Hangout. We currently have 313 patrons. Technically, that's down 11 from last week, but that's likely due to Patreon processing support over the month into the holiday weekend. So there is always room for more. Special thanks go out to our content engineers, Hunter555, Jumbo Sale, Mind Trip Media, Party Voyager, and Yitz. Sharing the podcast with your friends is the easiest way to support the show. You can find us at The Spawn Chunks on Twitter and Instagram. Personal recommendations are by far the best way to share the podcast. Just poke a friend in the arm and let them know that they can listen on iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and even YouTube. Be sure to leave a rating and a review on your favorite platform. You can email the show at spawnchunkmail@gmail.com. Please use that email address. The RSS feed is linked at thespawnchunks.com, and the patron-only RSS feed is on the Patreon page. That's where you can listen to the render distance, the extended version of the podcast. Tadpole, thank you so much for hanging out and filling in for Johnny this week. I know you have a very busy schedule with your current streamathon happening. Where can people find you and the work that you're doing online?
You can find me at twitch.tv/tadpole_milk_ Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. Eastern time. We generally go for 8 hours. Currently, we are in a subathon, so immediately after this, I will be in there. You can also find my clips on my YouTube page at Tadpole Milk. I do post my VODs if you'd like to catch up anything you missed, maybe. And I am also over on TikTok, Tadpole_milk_. And thank you so much. I cannot thank you enough for having me on here. This has been just, like I said, a dream come true. You'd have told me 4 years ago, hey, you're going to be on the Spawn Chunks. I'd be like, get out of here. Now I've gone back to punching a tree. There's like, no way. This is like, mine has been thoroughly blown. Like, I cannot comprehend. I have not wrapped my mind around that I'm actually here on the Spawn Chunks. Thank you so much. You're amazing.
Hey, thank you for filling in, man. It's a great help to us as well. And hey, checkbox, Monday, blown mind. Always a good way to start the week.
Yes.
Links to everything that I'm up to can be found at joelduggan.com. That includes the Citadel Cafe, my other podcast about sci-fi and fantasy entertainment. I'll be catching up with Stephen ESC later this week, where we're going to be talking about Star Wars Ahsoka, which is currently streaming on Disney+. We'll be about 3 or 4 episodes into that, so we'll have a good chunk to talk about. I'm Joel Duggan on social media and Joel Duggan on Twitch, where I stream normally Thursday through Sunday, mostly Minecraft with Lego on Fridays. This week, however, I will be streaming Starfield, starting at 9 p.m. Atlantic, that's UTC minus 3 hours, on Tuesday, September 5th. That is when I get access to Starfield via the Xbox Game Pass Ultimate. So we will see you all on Twitch in the stars on Tuesday. Thanks for visiting the Spawn Chunks. The world outside is infinite, just like the number of tadpoles in a stream.